Hello. Hey everyone, I'm just going to give it another minute or so for folks to join. All right, let's get started then. Thanks everyone for joining. This is the third meetup of NLP London. If you haven't seen the other two, they are on the YouTube channel, which I will post a link to in the Meetup website for this meeting later today. My name is Heiko. I'm a specialist solution architect at AWS. Specializing in AI and machine learning, and in particular, as you would guess, probably in natural language processing. And today, I want to take a little bit of a different route. The last two sessions we did were focused on Hugging Face and how to use the open source NLP models from Hugging Face and fine-tune them or train them so they would fit your use case. We looked at a model that was able to read legal documents and answer questions about them. And we also fine-tuned last time a text generation model. And after training that model, it was able to produce text that looked like it was written by Shakespeare style. But not every time do these open source models fit the needs of an organization. It can be sometimes that organizations don't have the skills or the time or the resources to use open source models from Hugging Face that still, despite the progress that has been made to make these models much easier to use, it still requires some level of coding. So what I want to do today is have a look at managed AI services. And what I mean by that is really services that are offered. In this case, I will show some services offered by AWS, but there are other services out there from Google and Microsoft in particular. They offer very similar services. It's just I don't know them. So I can only talk about the ones at AWS. I'm not saying they're any better or worse. Probably for some use cases they are better. For other use cases, services from other providers are better. But I just want to give an overview of what is the state of the art with AI services, and AI services really being just an API for you to leverage the power of natural language processing without you having to code anything or having to think about how to host these models, how to monitor these models. Everything will be taken care of by these managed AI services. And that is sometimes the route that I see organizations go down, that especially organizations, as I mentioned, don't have the resources or the skills or the time to develop their own NLP models. In particular, I want to look at 3 different AI services from AWS. The first one is called Amazon Comprehend, which is the NLP service offered by AWS. The second one is going to be Textract, which is the OCR solution offered by AWS. And lastly, we're going to have a look at Kendra, which is the search solution offered by AWS. And in the end, after the presentation, we're going to have a quick look at a demo of how they can interact with each other. So I'm going to start off with Amazon Textract. And Amazon Textract is an OCR solution and does pretty much what you would expect an OCR solution to do. It extracts text from images or PDFs. Not only can it extract text, though, it also can extract tables. It can extract forms into key value pairs, and it offers the human in the loop solution. And what I mean by that is human in the loop means you have the Textract solution running and it gives you back a certain confidence score, basically saying this is how confident I am that I extracted all the right things. If that confidence score drops, you can implement a human in the loop solution where all the documents with a confidence score lower than a particular threshold will be sent to a human reviewer who can review the forms and then upload the corrected data. Comprehend, as I mentioned, is the NLP solution within AWS, and it does a range of things. So once you have extracted the text from your documents, you can use Comprehend to detect entities in your text, detect key phrases, PII, sentiment, document classification, topics, language, syntax, and so on. Actually, there's a nice little interface that is provided by AWS where you can play around with Comprehend. So if I go into my AWS account and go on real-time analysis, I can put in some text here. And I can say analyze. And then it can detect entities here. So it does detect automatically that I'm a person. It has some key phrases in here. The language, it is quite confident that this was English language. PII data, so personal identifiable information will be detected. Sentiment, the model is quite confident that this is a positive sentence, and syntax, so part of the speech tagging is included in that as well. Lastly, I want to talk about Amazon Kendra. And Kendra, you can think of Kendra as a search engine on top of your documents. So what we find is that oftentimes organizations have a large corpus of documents and they want to search in those documents, but they want it to be a little bit more sophisticated than just putting in search words and then do regular expression on those, and just try to find the documents that have these search key terms in them. So Amazon Kendra uses natural language queries instead, where it tries to understand. So basically what you do is you input your search, your query as a natural language query. So really like how you would ask a person about information. And Kendra then tries to understand the meaning of your search query and goes through all the documents and can extract that information, not based on search pattern matching, but on actual understanding of your query. Which then brings me to the main part of today's demo, which is the Document Understanding Solution. The Document Understanding Solution incorporates Textract, Kendra, and Comprehend, and a special part of Comprehend as well, Comprehend Medical, that was developed to identify medical terms, and thus offers then a broad range of features that organizations can use out of the box without any programming. So you can do intelligent search across the documents, you can do OCR, form extraction, table extraction, and so on. Basically everything that we've seen the individual services do. And part of my job as a solution architect is oftentimes to work with customers, take individual solutions as almost like Lego blocks and put them into an architecture that works for the customer. And that sometimes can look a little bit intimidating at first. So if you go on the website of the Document Understanding Solution, and again, I will post all these links later into the Meetup website for this webinar. But if you go on the website, let me zoom in a little bit here, you will find the architecture for this Document Understanding Solution. So you will see these main components of this solution, like Textract, Comprehend, and Kendra within that, but they also all need to interact with each other. And you do that via queuing systems, via serverless Lambda functions, and other aspects of like basically glue them together. On this website, you also see a full implementation guide and even a one-click button, launch button. If you click this button and you are connected to your AWS account, it will basically spin up the whole architecture in the background. And after an hour or so, you have the full solution running in your account without, touching code at any point. And what that then looks like is something like this. So this is the demo that we have built. And again, after pressing this launch button, this would be exactly the same that you would have in your account. I'm just trying to zoom in a little bit here. And let me start actually, so we have 3 tracks here. And let me start by taking the workflow automation at the very right as a first intro. It tells you what the track does. So if I click OK, I get to this document list. So obviously, I can upload my own documents here, but for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to use some of the examples that were put into this demo already. And I'm going to start with the medical history form. So in this track, in this workflow automation track, what I can do is basically extract the information from this document, for example, in raw text. And then I have just the raw text here on the right. But it's also a little bit more sophisticated than that. We can extract key value pairs. So a form usually has a key, like patient name, and a value for that. So we see that here on the right, or the date of the last update. And it can also extract tables. And I didn't mention this before, but this is a PDF, a non-searchable PDF. So basically almost like a picture. So that is pretty neat that we can do all of this basically on an image. If I go on tables, it will tell me how many tables I found. But not only that, I can just download this table as a CSV file. And again, this is from an image, so it's pretty neat. So if I click on download and say open with Excel, takes a minute, mainly because my computer is so slow. But this is then what pops up. So it has now successfully extracted the information from this PDF document into a CSV table. It also extracts entities. So as we've seen before, Comprehend can detect entities in text. So it tells me it found 5 different entities in this document: persons, dates, organizations, and quantities. And as I mentioned, Comprehend has a special extra part, which is concerned only with medical entities. So it finds even protected health information in here, medication, test treatment procedures, medical conditions, and anatomy. All right, going back to the main screen. Another track in this solution is the redaction of information from a document. So as you would imagine, especially with medical documents, this is a crucial step in the workflow. And if I go into the document that is called medical insurance claim form, I have again up here on the top the options to extract certain information. This time I want to focus in on entities, because I want to, for example, redact the name of people in this document, like Jane Doe. So if I go on person here and I see a button next to it that says redact, I can click redact, and basically it finds all the information connected with a person, like surname, first name, email address, and so on, and redacts it. And I can just download the redacted document. And have now here my redacted document. I can also just search within the document for anything that I'm interested in, like the policy number 123. You see that it will find the policy number or the street, and I can redact those matches as well. Okay, lastly, going to the discovery track of the Document Understanding Solution. And this is where the Kendra search engine comes into play. Now, there's been quite a few documents being uploaded, quite a few also related to COVID-19. So within this demo, there are already some questions pre-populated as examples related to COVID-19. And as I mentioned before, you can just formulate your query as a natural language query. So where can I get tested for COVID-19? Now, there's two search engines implemented into this solution. Elasticsearch, which basically really does keyword search results, and Amazon Kendra, which does semantic search results. And we can compare them even one to another. We have Elasticsearch on the left and Amazon Kendra on the right. And Amazon Kendra has a few of the features that you know from modern search engines, like a suggested answer, frequently asked questions that relate to the question that you just asked. And just in general, it has a better sense of what is the intent of your question, rather than just looking for these keywords and matching them to the documents. Within Kendra, you can even set up personas, and that means you can amend, or like these queries can be tailored to search to show different results to different personas. So if I'm a healthcare provider, I might want a different search result. Just close here. I might want to have a different search result than if I am, for example, a scientist. And now I'm just not sure how to apply these search filters. All right, but basically it is, yeah, didn't do it. Right. Of course, always when you do a demo, it doesn't work out. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to show today. We have a few minutes left, so please shoot any questions that you might have.
Hi, Heiko.
Hey, Barry.
Thanks for a great presentation. How do you get the data into the US? I noticed that you're using Elasticsearch. I'm assuming that it could presumably query an Elasticsearch backend.
So I know, at least for Kendra, to be transparent, I don't know too much about Elasticsearch, but I know that Kendra has native partner connectors to ingest your documents in there. So if I were to just search for Kendra and connectors, I would be referred to this website, and basically you could have your data in an RDS or an S3, FSX connectors, Atlassian, like lots of different connectors that basically let you put in your data into the document understanding solution.
Okay. That's good. And then the second question, in terms of the personas, is it possible to tune the personas? Say, for instance, you have, I don't know, someone that's into aviation. Could you somehow prioritize terms that relate to a particular theme or topic?
Yes. Also,
and don't worry if you can't find it now. I've done many demos myself.
That's oh, Amazon Kendra. It's
a different sort of Kendra on there.
That looks like it. To be honest, this is, what I do in my regular job as well. Customers would usually ask any questions for which I usually don't have the answer, and I would have to look it up. I will let me do a little bit more research on that, and I'm going to go back to this website here. So this is the website for today's meetup, and I'm going to respond to that in the comments below.
Great, thank you.
All right, and I see Mike has a question as well. Possible to automate processes like redaction for, say, thousands of documents? Yes. So going back to this architecture, everything in here is basically an API to your architecture. So you can use something like comprehend or textract as an API, meaning in its simplest form, you can just have a loop going through all your documents and do the redaction for thousands of documents. This document understanding solution obviously is a nice visual interface to demo to customers, but in production systems, we oftentimes see organizations not so much caring about the user interface and much more about the functionality of these solutions. And that's when they, implement those solutions in terms of APIs. So if I were to go to like comprehend, redact, PII, API, something like that. There should be, yeah. So basically, you can analyze the text via the AWS command line interface, or I would hope there's also some API references in here. But to make this answer short, it is possible, yeah. All right. Any other questions out there? Okay, well, I hope this was somewhat useful. Obviously, not everyone does have an AWS account. Again, I just wanted to show what is currently out there in terms of like out-of-the-box solutions. And again, there are other providers who do similar things. But natural language processing is such a fast-moving field that it probably makes sense every now and then to look into what can I get out of the box, and even if it's just for a baseline. The last thing I wanted to mention is that I'm currently looking for a space. So hopefully next time we're going to have this meetup, we can have it in person here in London. I'd be very excited about that. With things going somewhat back to normal, I know that our office is going to go back to normal pretty soon. So I do hope that I can secure some space soon going forward, so that we can actually meet up in person, have workshops or presentations in person, and then some networking afterwards. So yeah, feel free to check out the Meetup website every now and then, and I might also shout out on LinkedIn and so on if I can find a date and a location for our next meetup.
Sounds good.
All right, excellent. Thanks so much, and have a great evening.
All right, cheers. Thanks.
Cheers, thanks, bye.